This video is sponsored by Squarespace. More on how to easily make your own websites later on in the video. Hey guys! So a little while ago I realized that it has almost been 6 years since I uploaded my very first video to YouTube. That got me wondering, do I still suck? Have I improved in 6 years of doll making and doll customizing? And I guess there's only one way to find out. I'm going to recreate the doll from my very first YouTube video, but will customize her with the knowledge that I have today, 6 years later. I luckily got my hands on a second-hand Astranova recently, so I can keep my 6-year-old custom doll and we can compare both dolls together in the end. I'm beyond excited for this project, so let's get started. So here's the Astranova doll that I recently bought on Facebook Marketplace. I got her really cheap, and I think it's because some parts have been painted and she is not in the best condition anymore. Okay, let's prepare this doll. I believe the helmet was painted with nail polish, so I hope I can get it off. Also, her neck seems to be cracked due to the weight of her head since she has a magnet in her head for the floating station. It seems her arms are stained from the painted arm thingies. That doesn't look too well. Oh, this is glued. Operation... Where's my little scissors? Couldn't find the little scissors. Alright, let's remove her clothes first. So yeah, since she had a glued on underdress, I needed my scissors to cut it open and hopefully be able to remove it. The front part was relatively easy to remove. Just got a lot more complicated than I anticipated this project to be. Where the dress really gave me trouble was the back. It was hot glued onto the doll. With some cutting pliers, I tried to get as much glue off the doll as possible. Okay, this is the best I could do for now. I will try to get the rest off by putting it in hot water and also remove the head and the helmet, hopefully. Okay, let's do that. So here you can see I boiled some water and put the doll into the pot, letting her soak for 2 minutes. After taking her out, it was very easy to remove the remaining hot glue. It was, however, a very hot matter, so don't burn your fingers when trying this technique.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
And what I feared most when removing her head indeed happened. The neck broke off. Yeah, that's what I thought. And so did her helmet. But that's okay, I won't be using it anyway. Ooh, that's the magnet.
In Japan,
doll.
the surgeon, #1.
After removing the helmet, I could then get out the neck pack, which I will need for repairing the neck later on. I'm also cutting off her hair because I want to give her a wig later on. This project suddenly almost turned into a whole doll restoration. I then tried to remove the stains from her lower arms. And guess what? They didn't come off. I think someone used Sharpies to paint the arm armor, and Sharpie stain vinyl dolls. Guys, don't use Sharpies on dolls. Her face was luckily removable except for the big black Sharpie mark on her forehead. So yeah, I think airbrushing the head and arms will be the only option here. Before doing so, however, I will make her a scalp, so I will be able to make her a wig later. For that, I stuffed her head with aluminium foil and just sculpted this rough shape with cast clay. It doesn't need to be pretty because it won't be visible anyways later on. Before baking it, I take it off the head and then bake it for 30 minutes. And then it was time to airbrush the head and arms. Okay, so this is the best I could do with airbrushing. It's pretty close to the original color though. Still a bit visible, but much better. Let's clean this here. Since the arm jewelries were painted with Sharpie, I could remove the paint with rubbing alcohol. With cotton pads and Q-tips, it was quite easy. Okay, let's try to repair this neck pack. To repair the neck pack, I will first use my nail art UV glue to glue the beam and one big broken off plastic piece back in place. I add a bunch of glue, place everything where it's supposed to be, and then will cure it for 2 minutes in my UV lamp. There are, however, some more broken bits and I will be covering those with epoxy sculpt. I take a blob and place it onto the hole and just shape it until I'm happy with it by making sure the neck pack is still movable. While the neck was curing, the scalp was done baking. I just need to remove it from the aluminium foil now and shape it a little to make it fit well. I also ended up sanding it and it looks quite good like that. I also, just out of curiosity, wanted to see how the magnet looked like.
Ow! Oh!
So I unscrewed the helmet.
Ooh, ooh.
So that's how it looks like. That's one next level chunky magnet. Speaking of next level. Wanna take your business to the next level? Wanna be the next Jeff B? Boom! Online store! With Squarespace, it's that easy. Whether you have physical or digital pieces, Squarespace has the right tools to start selling your art online. With professional and clean designs, you can easily create a web shop and integrate all the necessary information. Thanks to ImageBlock, images will always automatically be scaled and will always look perfect. Just drag and drop the images into position. Wow! For a wider audience, you can even connect your social media accounts and just change the links and icons. And you can also easily add your Instagram feed to your website. So if you are ready for your entrepreneurship, check out squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/moonlightjewel and get 10% off your first purchase of a domain or website using my code MoonlightJewel. That's squarespace.com/moonlightjewel, code MoonlightJewel. Thank you Squarespace for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back on working on Astranova. Okay, let's finally start on Astranova's new outfit. I cut out some bra cups from holographic fabric already and will now sew the tiny little darts on them by hand. After successfully doing so, I take the chest band of the bra and will glue the cups in place with my Ubu glue. To keep the fabric as flat as possible, I just freight checked the edges this time and didn't glue around any seam allowances. To add some straps, I attached some little jewelry rings with fabric straps onto the bra already here, and will now just add a tiny chain to the rings. This is finicky, but it looks so good once the strap is on. I cut out the panty from the same material and will first sew the back seam of them about 3 cm finished sides in. Then I can take both crotch pieces, place them on top of each other and sew them as well. Here I put the panty onto the doll and attached a little snap button closure already. I then take this middle piece I cut from the same fabric and will now glue it underneath the panty piece. After that was dry, I then put on the bra piece and will also glue it underneath the bra piece as well, using my most favorite companion. And with that, the monokini piece is done and I'm loving this. The holo fabric fits Astranova so well. I also wanted to make her a belt with an attached skirt, so I'm taking this pink glitter tool and pull a gathering thread through the top of it. I then gather it tight and add a second ruffle to make it rufflier and just stitch them both together. I do that twice, so I have a double ruffle for each side. Then I cut a belt from this iridescent lilac fake leather and will now glue both pieces onto the belt from the back. When it was dry, I then decided to add some silver rings with some chains to the belt. I simply place them where I want them to be and sew them on with silver thread by hand. I also wanted to give her a chest piece, so I made this ornament in Adobe Illustrator and cover it with a semi-sticky vinyl, sticky sides up. It's barely visible, but I could see it well enough to kind of trace this ornament now using my UV crafting resin and a toothpick. I slowly build up the shape with it and will then cure it under my UV lamp for a couple minutes. And after that I can remove it from the vinyl and end up with a really cool shaped ornament. To make it look like liquid metal, I will then use an eyeshadow applicator and my chrome powder and rub it on the pigments to make it shiny. I decided not to use a black base because I wanted to keep it a little transparent. Looks like I will have chrome fingers after this as well. With a finished ornament piece, I can continue on the skirt part and will now simply glue this piece onto the middle of it with my Uhu glue. And to finish the piece off, I will attach this little ring with a bead on the center of it by sewing it in place. And with that, the belt skirt piece is done, and I'm so happy that the chrome resin ornament turned out even better than I thought. For Astranova's shoes, I will be printing some shoe bases my friend Blue Pixie sculpted for me on my Elegoo Saturn printer in translucent resin. The resin is a pain to print, but it always looks so good when it works out. I then just have to remove the prints from the bed and also remove all the supports from them. After a wash in isopropanol, they can be cured with my curing station. And here are the shoe bases all cured. To make them clear again, I use my UV top coat and gloss them over with it. I then cure them in my UV lamp and will rub on some chrome powder to the shoes like I did with the ornament. The shoes will stay transparent, but they will have this metallic silver glow to them. And to make her some galactic sandals, I first attach a chain to a ring, making a loop, and attach another small piece to it as well. Then I close the ring and end up with something like this. Now I slide the chain ring onto the shoe base like this, and will glue it in place with my UV nail art glue. I apply a little amount of it onto the shoe base, push the chain on it, and cure it under my UV lamp. Then I'm taking a stripe from iridescent lilac pleather and will glue it onto the upper ring. I also attach some baby pink satin ribbon to each side of this ring so I can lace the shoe in the back later on. With the second ring and satin ribbons added on top of the iridescent stripe, the sandals are almost done. I just want to add another chrome decoration that I made the same way as the chest ornament, and now just glue it on as well with my Uhu glue. And that was the last step to finish her galactic sandals, and I'm living for these. I love the colors, the shape and the chains so much. And I love that they make the doll a lot taller. Alright, let's make Astranova some gorgeous hair. My boyfriend was so kind and prepared these wefts for me from a jumbo braid. I love the gradient and thought it would fit the doll perfectly. I also made her a wig cap from some purple tights. With the head protected by cling film, I then start gluing the wefts with my hot glue gun. If necessary, I straighten the wefts again with my hair iron and then just work my way up the doll head until I'm done with the wig. Then I'm sectioning off the bangs and first chop off the hair, leaving it longer however to make sure I don't cut the bangs too short. And then just keep cutting until I'm satisfied with the length. I'm then taking the side hairs and braid them like this. And then just loop them into a desired shape and sew the braids in place.
Hey guys, I'm in New York City just hanging out.
Sewing hairstyles like this works quite well actually. And it's cleaner than gluing. Once I was done sewing, I then just take this small ornament and glue it on top of the wig for some glamour. And with some silver beads added to the braids, the wig is done and I love the gradient so much. It's ultra long, but hey, why not, right? This will be the most interesting part for me, the face. Because here I will really see if I at least improved a little since the last years. I start off by dusting on some micro glitter onto her face first, before slowly building up some blushing with soft pink shades. I also add some pinks to her lips to give them some color. And then it's time to sketch out the eyes. I think what I learned with repainting dolls is that you don't always have to follow the sculpted eye shapes on the original doll, because especially on Astranova, they are ridiculously big and can look a little awkward. It's getting there, just some minor tweaks, and once I'm happy with the initial shape and makeup sketch, I also add some eyebrows already just to see where and how I want to place them. I use pencils and blend them with a brush and a Q-tip. And then it's time for the part I like to procrastinate on, mirroring the whole thing to the other side. This is the most difficult part to me and usually takes the longest time. But it's really worth it to take your time with this step and adjust the shapes as many times as necessary to get it as symmetrical as possible. I am sketching the makeup with white here, but I will paint it with silver later on. Unfortunately, my cam focused more on my hands here, but I hope you can still see some of the process. When all the lines were sketched to my liking, I then can finally go in with some paint. Using my liquid silver paint, I line all the white makeup lines silver. With nail art detail brushes, this is a very soothing thing for me. Back in the day, I stuck to just use pencils, but I became more confident to use brushes throughout practicing a lot. After I drew the silver lines, I then sketch out the upper lashes with a black pencil. This step is very important to make very neat, because you want each lash to look sharp. And to make them even sharper, I like to go in with some black acrylic paint and line the upper lashes with a nail art brush as well. And then it's finally time to paint the highlights. First, I take some white paint and draw some white lines to the iris to give it more dimension. And then I'm going to paint some white eye shines into her eyes as well. Now just one last step is missing. Gloss on her lips. I apply 3 layers of Liquitex High Gloss Varnish for that, letting each layer dry in between. Okay, the face is done and we are almost done with the doll. Last minute I decided to salvage the silver pieces from Astranova's helmet to make her a headdress. So I take these 2 pieces, put them into a little cup and add some rubbing alcohol in hopes to dissolve the paint. It didn't work too well, so I used some acetone in the end. Oh, and I also cut off this speaker thing. This was the best I could do with the acetone, so in order to make them completely silver again, I will gloss them with my UV nail polish first. And after curing, I'm using my chrome powder again and rub it into all the creases that still have paint on them. This worked good in the end, so now I can cut off those little things on the back of the pieces. And then I use a fabric stripe from some glitter fabric and will glue on both chrome pieces like this. I apply some Uhu glue onto the fabric and press the pieces on firmly. And to attach the piece to the head later, I will be hot gluing on a magnet in between the pieces like this and cover it with another little fabric stripe. And to make the transition on the back side nicer, I apply some UV nail polish and sprinkle silver glitter on top of it before curing it. I then just put a second magnet in Astranova's head with some blue tack and then just attach the headdress like this. And yeah, with that my recreation of my first YouTube repaint is done.
And yeah, here's my new Astranova revamp. This project really showed me that I learned a lot of things and tricks throughout the 6 years of doll making and doll customizing. I'm really glad that I did this little challenge for myself. How long have you been customizing dolls? Please let me know in the comments below. Also, thank you to all my supporters over on Patreon for your incredible support. It means the world to me. Also, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so that YouTube knows that I'm here. See you guys in the next video and have a beautiful creative day. Bye!